What is up, guys? It's your man Robert coming to you today with another video about selling your product. So let's do this thing. Today we're gonna sell an item called makeup removing wipes, right? To remove makeup. As you know, guys, I'm all about selling with stories because I believe that's the best way for you to present your product in front of your audience in a way that will leave them chomping at the bit, just to buy from you, right? So what do stories do, right? Stories create trust. If you're trying to sell to somebody, you don't just say, hey, buy my thing, right? You present a story, you create trust, okay, by selling with a story. First thing we gotta do is create a character, a hero. In our case, since we're selling makeup stuff, let's call her Karen, right? Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I like to start in the middle of the action, like right in the middle of the action, and then go backwards, right? And the action that I start with, it must imply a question. It must leave people wondering what's going on, and preferably a ton of questions. So knowing that, let's start the story. You could say something like, Karen smashes face first into a full length mirror. Bam. Right there. You're starting the story with an action, right? It's right in the middle of the action. She's not sleeping, she's not sitting down, watching TV. No. She is slamming her face in a full length mirror. So the audience is like, what the heck? They want to know what happened to Karen. Why is she smashing mirrors and stuff, right? Why is she, what's going on, right? But you're not gonna answer this until the end of your story. You're gonna leave them hanging, right? You're gonna leave them hanging. So just introduce that, right? And then the next line, you could do something like, somebody grabs her from behind, pulls her back before her butt hits the floor, right? That's the second line. Moving on. It takes her a minute before she can recover to look at the person who grabbed her, right? Who rescues her. And she sees it's a big, strong guy, right? A big, strong guy who probably works there, who works there actually in the makeup department of this big store, right? It's a mall. It's a store in the mall. So this guy, he asks her, "Are you okay?" Karen nods. She's cool, But then, she looks at the cracked mirror, because her face slammed it real hard, like it cracking mirrors and stuff. So she looks at it, and then she looks at the guy who saved her. His name tag, by the way, happens to say manager, right? He shrugs. Now, by now, because it was such a loud smashing sound when she slammed her face on the mirror, all the employees, everybody, all the employees in the makeup department, they come to see if she's okay, if she needs a glass of water. The manager, probably not wanting to get sued, says, "Don't worry about the mirror. We'll take care of it. Your safety is our number one concern." Right? You can end the paragraph right there. You've introduced the hero, the main character. Your audience is hooked at this point. They want to know. They're like, what the heck, right? Why is this chick smashing windows with her face in the makeup department of a store at the mall, right? That's what you left them hanging with, right? You also, by the way, very important thing, you did not mention anything for sale, right? Your audience is just into the story. You haven't even introduced the product that you want to sell, right? So, moving along with the story, right? Next paragraph, you could start the second paragraph with you start with the bang as usual, right? That's how I like to start every paragraph. So you could say something like, for example, right? The sharp metal of the steel blade is dangerously close to Karen's carotid artery. Bam! Again, right in the middle of the action, right? A sharp blade of steel is right in the middle of, is right there on her artery, right? You started right in the middle of the action and you raised questions. Everybody wants to know what's up, right? The only difference for this paragraph is by the end of this paragraph, you are going to show what's up. You are going to show what's going on with that blade on Karen's neck, right? So moving on, Karen, going on the story, Karen looks at the face of the man holding the knife to her neck, right? He looks young, maybe 24, maybe 25 tops. He's a young dude, full of testosterone, but Karen can see she's high on something, probably meth, right? So, she knows this is a guy who's high on meth, so she smiles inside. But she knows that just the slightest bit of aggravation, and this guy, he might just even, push the knife inside further, right? So she says, hey, man, look, I've got $200 in my purse right now. It's all yours. You can take it. And she's smiling, trying to keep this guy cool, right? So this guy, since he's full of meth, he's high, that's all he wants basically is her money. He says, give it to me, right? And Karen is when he speaks, he's got messed up teeth because apparently he's a druggie. That's what he does. He takes drugs all day. His teeth are messed up, and Karen is like just trying to keep a straight face, because he doesn't want to aggravate this guy. She reaches into her purse, takes out $100, all she has, which is actually $100, and this guy, he looks at her. He looks at her. He looks at the money, looks at her, says, "Where's the rest?" Right? You say 200. Karen had forgotten that she'd spent, she was at the mall. She forgot that she spent 100, some money at the mall, buying this and that, right? So all she has left is $100. So how is she gonna, in her mind is racing. How is she gonna convince this guy that, hey, let me go. I know I told you 200, but I only have 100. The guy is messed up in the head. He wants 200 because that's what Karen said she had, right? And then you can end the paragraph right there, right? It's a cliffhanger, cliffhanger with this guy still holding the knife now on Karen's neck because, he wants 200. He's not even satisfied with $100, right? Your audience is hooked. You answered the question of how you started the paragraph, right? You started the paragraph with the blade and you showed what was going on. So you answered the implied question there, right? And that's all, that's what you gotta do. Slowly by slowly, You're answering questions. Start with action, imply questions, answer the questions, right? So, moving on, right? Next paragraph, for example, we're still keeping with the Karen theme, right? Uh, let's start. We're gonna follow the formula basically, which is starting with a bang. You could say something like, Karen's hand feels as if she's just touched a hot metal poker, right? It's in pain, right? And right there, bam, right in the middle of the action, right? Everybody wants to know, why is her hand feeling that way, right? But you continue the story. Let's continue the story. So you say, okay, her hand feels like as if she touched a hot poker, but now is not the time to stop and check it out, right? The young man with the knife, that 24, 25-year-old dude, still has the knife, and now he's chasing her, right? So now we know Karen is running and this guy is behind her, and they're down in an alley. So apparently, so what happens is, so now you're explaining, right? You're explaining now. You're explaining the story. She couldn't come up with $200 because she didn't have $200 on her. She only had $100. So what she did was, she punched instinctively. She just punched the guy in the face, the druggie. Bam! She punched. And now you've explained why her hand is stinging, right? Now we know her hand is stinging. You answered the question. So Karen is running, but she has a problem. She has a big problem. She doesn't know the streets. See, this is not her town, right? This is not her town. So she's just running around the streets, the alleys, and then she does a mistake because she doesn't know the streets. She turns into another corner, and it's a dead end. So now she's at a dead end with a wall behind her, right? With a wall behind her. And this guy now is approaching her. He's got the knife, smiling like a hungry wolf, just approaching its prey, right? And then you can end the paragraph there again. See what you did there? You left your audience hanging right in the middle of the action. You answered the question that you implied to begin the paragraph, but you still left them wanting more. It was a cliffhanger, basically, right? You want to make them turn the page. You know what I'm saying? Or wait for the next video if you're doing videos. If you're doing emails, you want to make them wait for the next email. Like they're not gonna want to miss what's going on, right? Paragraph number 4. Again, the formula. We start with a bang. So Karen is at a dead end, right? So the first start this paragraph, you could say something like, Karen's face stings and blood spurts out of her cheek. Bam! Right in the middle of the action. Everybody wants to know, blood spurting out of her cheek? Her face is stinging. What is going on, right? So they have that in their mind. Moving on, you say, her eyes and her eyes only move to the side like this. She can't move because she can't move. And what she sees is the knife sticking right here, right? So her eyes are moving and she sees the knife sticking right here. So the man had thrown the knife at her, missing her, right? So she's at the dead end. The man threw the knife, bam, and the knife went right here. So what happened was the cramps, The knife stuck to the wall, but the pieces of rocks from the wall hit her face, drawing blood, right? And then this guy, he's just laughing, like a crazy dude, right? Because he's crazy. He's high. So Karen looks down. He sees something. She sees something. And then this guy, he's approaching her now. He doesn't have the knife, but he's crazy. He's approaching her, right? Laughing like a crazy dude. Karen has seen something. So what does Karen do? The oldest trick in the book. She says, look, up there. Dude is crazy, right? So he looks up. Takes a second to look up. Quickly, Karen picks up the something, which happens to be a rock, right? And in one fluid movement, she throws it at the guy who's just still coming. Boom! Right there. The rock gets him right there. What the guy does? Just like he's out, like a light. Out. And at the same time, you end the paragraph there, right? Another cliffhanger. So that was the fourth paragraph. So we normally do 5 paragraphs, right? You don't want to keep your audience waiting too long because you're trying to sell something. So the last paragraph is where we're going to tie everything together. We're going to answer the implied question from the first paragraph, and also we're going to introduce our product in this paragraph. Because remember, we haven't sold anything yet. We've just been telling a story, right? So, and that's a good thing, because you want to keep your audience engaged to where they like you, they trust you. You know what I'm saying? And then you like I said, in this paragraph, you're gonna answer the question of why Karen was smashing her face into a mirror at the mall, right? So if you're ready, so let's get ready with paragraph 5. Okay, paragraph number 5. Let's dive right in, shall we? So you could say something like, Jessica's face drains off all her blood. It turns white. Bam! So right in the middle of the action, first of all, you've introduced a new character, right? Jessica. Who is Jessica? Implied questions. The audience is on their toes. They want to know who is Jessica and why her face turned white, right? So we give them the story. Karen pushes her aside, right? Karen, the star of the story, pushes her aside, enters the room. It's a hotel room, right? It's a hotel room. It's a plush hotel room. We see now that it's got like a double king-size bed. She goes, her face, she goes, slumps on the bed, face to the pillow, right? Jessica comes over, sits right next to her. What happened? Right? She's asking. Karen, with her face still muffled by the pillow because, she's tired, it's been a crazy day for her, says nothing. Jessica continues. Your face is bleeding, your hair is a mess. Mom, it can't be nothing. Then there we go. So we know she's the daughter of Karen, right? Karen says, trust me, you don't want to know. And then she continues, right? You got the stuff. So Jessica stands up, walks to the closet, and pulls out a luggage bag, right? It's huge, and it's got wheels. It's one of those, it's a travel bag. It's got wheels. So she brings it, she wheels it over next to the bed, opens it, and she reveals row after row after row of makeup removing wipes, right? And Karen is like, Jesus Christ, how many did you get? Jessica smiles, right? She's like, well, your smash in the mirror distraction gave me enough time to empty their entire supply. Ha! Karen smiles. I taught you well. Jessica smiles back. Maybe too well. I've already booked our flight back home. And you end the paragraph there, right? You end the story there, basically. So basically, you explained who Jessica was, right? She's the daughter of Karen. She's Karen's daughter. They came to town to steal makeup wipes, right? So you introduced the product at the end of the paragraph, and now all you need to do is plug in your link there. You say, these wipes are so good, people fly in to steal them. They are so good, right? I mean, it's funny. The story was engaging. And you have your link right there. It doesn't matter if it's your product or if it's an affiliate product, right? You tell a story, you engage your audience, you link, the product is always part of the story, right? And that's what you did here. Part of the story. So you plug in your link and you sell your product. That's how you do it. See you in the next video.